right, you guys, it's officially baseball season, and if you follow me on any of my socials, you have seen I have posted more and more about baseball, and I'm going to be covering more about baseball as we get into the actual games start. Opening day is just around the corner, and I want to talk about a few of the ballparks that I have been to. I have actually attended a game at a few of them, and then I have visited a few of them. So I wanted to get into those, and then give you guys a few that are still on my list to visit. So let's jump right into that. All right, you guys. So, of course, being a Chicago Cubs fan, I have been to Wrigley Field, and that ballpark is honestly the greatest that I've been to. The entire scene around the ballpark is so fun, even for non Cubs fans. It is a great area for families, for couples, for anybody. There's lots of restaurants, and they built the whole park outside of it. And Wrigley is just a stadium that you have to go to. We've been there numerous times over the years, and it only gets better each time that we go. And to be honest with you, we have been in different seats in that stadium, and they're all great. But we really loved the like 300 level the last time we went. It had a great view of the entire stadium, plus the skyline in the background, and it was just a overall wonderful experience. But I definitely Wrigley has been my number one ballpark, and not just because I'm a Cubs fan. It is just a great atmosphere overall. And I think that they really make it family friendly, which is a huge thing because so many kids love baseball. You don't want to take them to a game where they're not going to feel safe, where they're not gonna like have all like food outside or anything like that. So I definitely think Wrigley takes the cake for that. They really prioritize making a great overall experience from the minute you get to like the street of Wrigley to inside the stadium and vice versa. So I definitely think that if you guys are baseball fans, you have not been to Wrigley, put that on your calendar. Go to Wrigley if at all possible because it is a great stadium to go to. And there's not a bad seat in the house really that I've been to. We've sat at the 100 levels, the 200 levels, the 300 levels. And like I said, we honestly prefer the 300 level just for the view of the stadium and everything, but they're all great seats. Another stadium that we have frequently went to is the Milwaukee Brewers. It is the closest stadium to us, so it's easy to go to. We've been there for several games. Been there for several different teams as well. We've seen the Blue Jays there. We've seen the Cubs there. And that stadium to me too is a great stadium. It is kind of a it's kind of an indoor stadium. They have a retractable roof, and then they also have like the sides that open. So both times that we have been there, the roof has been closed, but they've had the sides open, so you still kind of get that a little bit of that baseball outside breeze that you enjoy, but without being the like whole thing is open and without worrying about any kind of weather or anything like that. The one seat that we sat in at Milwaukee's stadium is we sat lower level by the visitors' dugout because that was when we saw the Cubs and we wanted to be close to the Cubs. That was a great seat. The net kind of does restrict your view just a little bit, but nothing terrible. So that was a great seat, but it does cost a little bit more money. The last time we went was against the Toronto Blue Jays, and we sat the first row of the outfield, and the tickets were I think maybe $20 a piece, and those seats were fantastic. I really enjoyed those seats. They were comfortable and roomy. You were right there on the first level, so you got to see all of the stuff going on in the outfield. During warm-ups, you had a great view of batting practice and the pitchers and catchers warming up, and so that to me was my favorite seat in the house. I think that one was really great. But overall, Milwaukee Stadium is good. I think that they have done a really good job with some renovations that they have done. They've done some small minor things. I know they're looking at doing possibly some bigger things, so we'll see how that pans out. But I think it's definitely a great place to see a ball game. And the one thing about their ballpark that you don't have to worry about is any kind of weather because it does have that closed roof. So I feel like the stadiums with the retractable roofs are kind of like bittersweet because it's cool that you don't have to worry about like a rain delay or a weather delay, but it also kind of takes away of like that outside baseball atmosphere. So to me, that's like a bittersweet one, but definitely Milwaukee is a good stadium to visit. Try the pretzel if you go there. Their pretzels are fantastic. They are buttery, salty, goodness. And so if you do go to Milwaukee, definitely have a pretzel. The other stadium that we have been to is the other side of town for Chicago, the White Sox. We went and saw a White Sox and a Detroit game because I am a huge Javier Baez fan. If you follow me, you know this. And they were coming to the Chicago White Sox, so we decided to go. And I didn't know what to expect. Honestly, I hear a lot of people put like the location of the White Sox park down and so I wasn't sure what to expect. Um their park is nice. It's nice. I had no complaints on it. The parking was easy to get to. People were tailgating outside of the ballpark, so it felt very safe. Getting into the actual ballpark itself was easy with security and everything. And the ballpark was nice. I feel like it's definitely one that I would visit again. I would have no hesitation of going again to a game there. It's not as spectacular as the Wrigley, but of course it's not gonna be. But I don't think it's anything to complain about either. I think that they had great seating. I will say the ballpark, the way it sits, you're gonna be in the sun in most seats. So if that's a concern, definitely think about that because we sat again on the lower level of the visitor side, which was the first base side on it at the White Sox, and we were in the sun 90% of the game, which I don't mind. Honestly, I don't mind that at all. I'm outside at a baseball game, so that's what I want. Um, but most of the seats in that stadium have a lot of sun, so take that into consideration. But it's definitely a stadium that I would go back to. I would see a game there again. I had no hesitations. I didn't really have any safety concerns either, which I feel like that's the biggest thing is you want it to be safe for everyone, including like families or anything like that. And I had no safety concerns there at all. No safety concerns with any of the three stadiums that I have been to. So they're all in great locations. But yeah, I would definitely catch another game at the White Sox. It is not as great as Wrigley Field. Honestly, Wrigley Field is just an iconic ballpark. It's kind of like Fenway. They're just both iconic in their own way. And honestly, Milwaukee is just easier for me to get to, so I would go to Milwaukee before the White Sox. But if there was ever an opportunity, I would definitely go back. And then two stadiums that we have seen, but we actually haven't been to a game at, is number one, there's three. The one we just saw recently, but number one, we saw the St. Louis Cardinals Stadium when we went to St. Louis for Backlash. And it was a great stadium. It was very pretty. The location was great. There's lots of foods, restaurants, bars, lots of activities around. It was very similar to the like Wrigleyville for me because it had lots of restaurants. It had an outside area. There was actually when we were there was like a high school band playing across the street in their like park area. So there's obviously entertainment there. And then you have, of course, the arch right behind it. So that is a stadium that's definitely on my list to catch a game at because it was beautiful just walking around it, and I know that a game there is probably spectacular. Plus, they have those like $29 all you can eat concessions this year, so we might have to think about that. Then we went to San Diego when we were in when we were in San Diego, it was during off season. It was late October, but we decided just to walk to the park to see what it looks like and everything. And the outside of the park was beautiful. I love San Diego as a city, so it's definitely one that I want to go back to and catch a game at. Because the outside of the ballpark looked great. I don't know what the inside looked like because I wasn't there, but the city of San Diego itself is a very nice city, and so I would definitely go back to that one and catch a game if possible. And then finally, we saw the Minnesota Twins Stadium, which my husband has actually been to a game at the Twins Stadium. I have not, but we did walk around it when we were in Minnesota in October, and it looked like a very nice area as well. Plus, the Detroit Tigers and Javier Baez come there a lot, so we're definitely probably going to be catching a game there in the future. But I feel like there's so many stadiums on my list to go to, but definitely Fenway. I have to see Fenway sometime in my life. I just want to number one see Boston as a whole, but Fenway is just an iconic park like Wrigley Field. So that's one that I have to go to. And then the opportunity might come up this year to see either the Angel Stadium or the Dodger Stadium. Still not sure yet. But we are going to be out in California and they're both going to be in town while we are out there. So maybe, if possible, we will visit one or both of those stadiums. But let me know, what is your favorite MLB stadium that you have been to? What is one that I should put on my list for a definite visit? And if you have any questions on any of the stadiums that I've been to, let me know. As always, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, follow me on all socials, and I'll see you guys next time.